In this video, I'm going to be showing one of my older battle videos featuring a Garbodor Terrakion deck. So this hasn't been updated with the Boundaries Cross cards. I don't have Skyla or a computer search in there right now. But yeah, pretty much the point of this video is to really show the effectiveness of Garbodor decks. We're midway in cities right now, and Garbodor decks have been showing up a little bit, but they haven't really been taking tournaments. And I really think that's because really the best people, I don't think, have been playing them. I think if a lot of our top players, really a lot of our top players could just take pretty much any deck and maybe not pilot it to first place, but could really pilot it pretty far. So I just kind of wanted to push this deck out there because I think with all the decks that rely on abilities, Keldeo, Darkrai, Eels, Garbodor decks I think have a really good shot at just doing very well. And this match is, I think, just a really good example of how effective that is. So my opponent goes first, gets 2 basics down, gets 2 more basics with a call for family. I'm going to go ahead and attach a Rescue Scarf to that Terrakion, the active one. And I'm going to Level Ball for a Trubbish. Throw a Rescue Scarf on that as well. So as soon as I hit the Garbodor, I can get that ability lock underway. I'm going to be Junipering my hand anyway, so there's really... I'm going to go ahead and just burn the catcher. Even though he has a free retreat, it's going to prevent him from Dynamotoring to that Rayquaza. He's still going to have to use a switch to get back into it. So hopefully that'll still force him to use up some resources. Attaching a Fighting to my active, putting a bench Terrakion down, and passing. He draws the card for his turn. And with 3 Eels on the field and now a Zekrom as well as Rayquaza, he's looking pretty good. He manually attaches to the Zekrom and ends my hand away, so there goes my turn 2 Garbodor, and unfortunately I'm not able to draw back into it. However, I do have the end, so hopefully I'll be able to pull the Garbodor off the end. I'll use burn a few more cards from my hand to whittle away my deck and see what I can pull. So he's going to retreat the Rayquaza and promote the Emolga, again for the same reason that I captured it up, is just to prevent him from Dynamotoring to it. So unfortunately he didn't have any energy in the discard pile to be able to use Dynamotor on that Zekrom on the bench, so that's probably really going to hurt him. So I'm considering using a catcher and taking out a Dynamo, but really there's... As soon as I get the lockup, I'm going to be fine. So I'd rather save my catchers for taking out main attackers. And there we go. I hit the turn 2 Garbodor. Go ahead and promote a Trubbish, or put down a Trubbish as well, just in case he's got the catcher and to be able to knock out my Garbodor. And I'm going to hit his Emolga for just 30 on Retaliate. So he's got a double Eels right now, but I've got the lock on him, so unless he runs Tool Scrapper, he's going to have to use a catcher to bring up my Garbodor. So that would be the first play to counter this deck, is Tool Scrapper. Second big play would be to catcher up the Garbodor and just knock it out. Third big play would just be to really focus on your manual attachments. Be very, very careful with how you're attaching them. So right now, I random receiver for N. Let's see what I can get. Probably going to use that Heavy Ball first to get another Terrakion out on the field. But right now he's focusing on attaching to a Zekrom. Bad idea. I cannot one-shot a Rayquaza, so I feel like he should be focusing his manual attachments on that Rayquaza rather than the Zekrom. Because right now, this is what I want. There's the catcher in my hand to bring up that Zekrom. I've got 3 fighting energy on the Terrakion to be able to Land Crush. That does 90 with times 2 because of the fighting weakness. And that takes 2 of his 3 energy off of the field. And the other one's trapped on Emolga that's really not going to help him. So I'm going to go ahead and Land Crush for the knockout. And again, this is where he should have been attaching those energies to Rayquaza. I could have captured up Rayquaza, but I still couldn't have knocked it out in one shot. That still gave him time to retreat and add the energy on to be able to get the knockout. Yeah. So, as you can see in the corner, he states that kind of ruined my plan. And, yeah, in this situation, you have to be very, very careful. And, like I said, I really just don't think he was, by attaching the energy to Zekrom, that was just the smart play. I do compliment him on the triple eels that are on the field right now. So there is the catcher, and he's going to end. So here is his next misplay, which he'll actually point out in a minute. That was his only catcher. He claims later in a minute here that the remaining catchers, all three of them, are prized. So he should not have burned that one catcher until he had that Rayquaza or something else built up enough to be able to knock it out. Yes, there's still the high probability in me, getting another tool on the Garbodor. But right now, just capturing up and letting it sit there when I have not used a switch yet, this deck is going to run 4 switches. So it's just, it's going to happen. So he brings it up in an attempt to stall. It's pretty much just a waste, and ending me when I still had 5 in hand, or when I have 5 prizes, is it just pretty much gave me what I wanted. I have now the Scarf on another Garbodor, so he's got 2 Garbodor to deal with, and I've just got complete board control. So gonna play a Sharon. Let's see, I've got a Fighting Energy on a spare Terrakion. Gonna go ahead and play a switch to get up to that Terrakion. No catcher to take out a Thundurus, but that's alright. I'll go ahead and Land Crush and knock out the Emolga. And I pull into another switch. So, right now I don't know that he's got catchers prized, but I'm feeling pretty good if he does try and just pull up something else to stall. I've got plenty of switch to get back. So he promotes a Thundurus pretty much just for the free retreat. And he's only got 1 energy on that Rayquaza. It's really not looking good. And here's where he says 3 catcher prizes. So, yeah. The turn 2 Garbodor is pretty hard to beat. Like I said, I think he could have done some other things a bit differently, not attaching to the Zekrom, focusing instead on the Rayquaza that I couldn't one-shot. But again, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he had a chance to search his deck early, and that's something that when you search your deck, the first time you go through your deck, you should be checking for crucial prizes like that. And that's a misplay that I tend to make all the time. Is not checking my deck for what's prized. Now here, I think is another misplay. He hits me for 60. That's not much at all. And he has to discard an energy. Frankly, I would have let something else up to sacrifice. Maybe, I think I would have Ultra Balled probably for another Rayquaza and let that sit up there and, take a hit. So I could, get a couple more energy on my other Rayquaza. Right now, I mean, he's got his bench full of electric Pokemon. He really should have been focusing on the Rayquazas. Yeah, and see here, he's just attaching to a Zekrom. That's not going to do any good. And then retreating, and see now he's giving up the sacrifice to Thundurus, but it's too late now. Had he done that last turn and put the lightning energy that he just attached on Zekrom to Rayquaza, he could have at least hit me for 120. If he runs plus power, that could have been a knockout. So yeah, I double check, and I'm just going to catch out the Rayquaza and take the second prize. So he's saying that he had 3 catcher prize, and I just kind of tell him, I run plenty of switch, so really the catchers, unless you could one-shot the Garbodors, really aren't going to make a difference. And he's pointing out to me that he can't use electric. I kind of know that, and so I'm pointing out that he has to rely on just he has to be careful with his manual attachments. And so he's just like, oh, well, you'll one-hit KO anything anyways. No, I cannot one-hit KO a Rayquaza, which is why you should, and see, right now, he's just burned out his entire hand. He's got no energy, and, yeah, I'm like I said, I know that the turn 2 Garbodor is pretty hard to counter. With three catchers prize, it makes things a lot more difficult. But this guy pretty much ruined any shot he had by just really poor energy attachments. So, yeah, sacrificing an eel right there. He's throwing it up another one. And he plays a Rayquaza from his hand and just passes, and here we go with the Land Crush for the game. So, unfortunately, I wish it could have been a closer Garbodor match, but just wanted to kind of show how powerful Garbodor decks are, especially when they get set up really fast, and how if they do get set up really fast, you have to be very careful for the rest of the game to make sure that you have a fighting chance against them. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more battle videos.